Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Tom LaHue. We're going to be talking about Enneagram Type 9s today and the defense mechanism, which is called narcotization, or the defense strategy. And there's a defense strategy for every Enneagram type, and there's videos on my YouTube channel about each of these. And I think we're wrapping it up with Type 9s. And we're going to look at what it means to put yourself to sleep or to numb yourself out and to narcotize yourself in order to maintain your sense of peace and comfort and harmony. Now, on my website, tomlahue.com, if you click on the store tab up at the top, you'll see that I have a lot of different ebooks available. And one of them, up at the top left corner, is a free ebook for you to download called The Hidden Battle. And that is 27 pages of all the different defense strategies for each of the types. So you don't have to write all this stuff down. The notes are available to you as a free PDF download. Just go to my website to the store page, download The Hidden Battle today. And that's what I'm going to be looking at. I've got my notes in front of me, and I'm going to be looking at them as we talk about this. Also on my website, you can sign up for my Present to Life coaching program. If you're losing your excitement about your life or about your work, you're looking for direction in your life, having problems in your relationships, it can be so painful and so challenging at times. The Enneagram is such a great tool for self-awareness and also for learning to get along with other people and have greater levels of intimacy and compassion for each other. So if you're needing a little bit of encouragement, I would encourage you to sign up for one of the discovery sessions or sign up for the Present to Life coaching program. And also I have a lot of different courses available on my website on the Enneagram and other things related to improvement of your life. All right, so let's talk about Type 9s today. First of all, welcome. I'm glad you're watching this video. I love my 9s. I've got a 9 in my own life. Kaylee, one of our daughters, is a Type 9 Wing 1. Her tri-type is 974. And so, I've got a lot of experience with 9s. One of my son-in-laws is a 9 as well. And I have a lot of good friends over my lifetime that have been Type 9s. Easy to get along with, personable, and often will laugh at my jokes when nobody else will, honestly. But let's talk about 9s and the defense strategy of narcotization and how this might at times work against you and actually cause greater damage and problems to your life and to your relationships. All right, so Type 9s, often called the peacemakers or the mediators. They have characterized by their desire for harmony, their desire for peace and comfort in their environment and in their life and in their relationships. 9s have a core desire, you might say, to avoid conflict, to maintain their inner sense of peace and calm and comfort, and you might say to create a sense of unity and harmony in their world, on their teams, in their family. And their core fear is of loss or separation, or sometimes referred to as fragmentation. Like, imagine just being out there all by yourself and not having a group to belong to, and nobody wants you, and you're the problem, and you're just isolated out there in this universe, floating with no direction and no connection to others. And this fear, in a sense, drives the behavior towards seeking peace and avoiding discord at all costs. Okay, so the defense mechanism is called narcotization. And narcotization, narcotizing yourself could refer to numbing yourself out to avoid pain or conflict or discomfort, and to help maintain your sense of peace by disengaging from all the things around you that could disturb it, or even sometimes pushing back on the things in life that are disturbing your peace or the important people around you. Maybe you're married and you don't want your wife to be disturbed, so you might push back on the mother-in-law or push back on the kids' tantrums or whatever it is that could disturb your spouse or your important person, which then brings a great level of disturbance to you. So how does narcotization show up for 9s? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 ways in my notes that it shows up. Number 1 is just avoiding conflict. And realize, I get this. I'm a 7 wing 6. I don't like conflict either. I don't like negativity. I don't like it when there are problems. I would rather just try to be understanding and compassionate and move on. And I think that this is a very admirable trait that you have. If you're especially a 9-wing 1, a little more likely to be prone to want to avoid conflict than maybe a 9-wing 8. 9-wing 8s tend to be, they sometimes kind of fool you because they're 9s, but they can be quite snarky and quite direct and, and maybe shrug their shoulders a little bit more like, I don't know what to tell you, that's your problem. But 9-wing 1s, they tend to be very careful and all 9s to some degree, want to avoid inner conflict or continued conflict in their environment because it's exhausting. Avoiding conflict, and you might go to great lengths to avoid conflict, often ignoring real problems in your life or real disturbances in your life or problematic people in your life, sort of glossing over these, and hopefully that this would lead to some kind of level of comfort. But glossing over life's problems is not a real way to solve problems. The problems may still exist, and it could lead to extended discord and long-term discomfort. And as a 9, you want to catch this. Like, am I putting my short-term comfort over my long-term comfort? If I was really committed to my long-term comfort, I guess I would have to deal with this problem. And that's a good way of thinking, I think, that helps all of us, but particularly 9s. Next is seeking comfort. So number 2, seeking comfort. They might engage in activities that provide comfort or distraction. And that may be really what's going on. Distraction, like think binge watching television. I remember talking to a writer, and she was a 9, and she loved to write, but in the last couple of years she'd become, in her words, she became kind of lazy, and she wasn't being very productive. And she had all these ideas, the 9-wing 1, the dreamer. She had all these ideas of what she wanted to write, but it became like a chore to actually sit down and begin doing it. And she looked at me and she said, Tom, the honest truth is there's just too much good television on. And she'd found herself like getting stuck sitting in front of Law and Order, or Will and Grace or whatever. She got stuck, engaged in sort of the fantasy world that is, distracts and narcotizes you away from what you really want to pursue or solving your problems in life. And so think binge watching TV, video games, maybe overeating, sleeping excessively. And I think even like it could fool you. Like sometimes it could be like exercising. Like I know a 9 in my life that's a little gym rat, and they're always in the gym, and they would look like a 3, and probably in their tri-type, they probably are like a 9, 3, 7 or something like that. But, it's a way of, are you pursuing a goal, like your own goal is, are you motivated to do this? Or are you just kind of like, I don't know what else to do, so I guess I'll just go to the gym and hang out with these people and sort of become like them. And you could narcotize yourself away being very productive. Even like losing yourself in your job or in your work, and everybody's going to like applaud that and think it's great, but you may be, if you pause and stop and think about this, you may be losing yourself, and that's what 9s, that's characteristic of 9s, losing themselves to their jobs, losing themselves to their relationships, losing themselves to the simple comforts of life. You may discover that you've been so engrossed in your work or in your hobbies that, it's a way of avoiding other things in your life that really need your time and attention that maybe you don't want to have to sit and think about. And that's that sloth, that works behind the scenes that keeps you from wanting to go inward and engage with yourself and your own voice. So seeking comfort to avoid dealing with uncomfortable emotions or uncomfortable situations or overwhelming problems. Just think like problems that take a lot of steps. You're like, I don't know, it seems impossible, or it seems hopeless, or I've got other people that are supposed to be included in this and they're not really responding, so it's probably just too much. Next, number 3, minimizing problems. 9s are prone to downplaying the seriousness of the issues in their life, both their own and other people's, to maintain a sense of peace and normalcy. So, that kind of brushing off real problems in life, saying, oh, it's probably not a big deal. Oh, it's probably going to be okay. Oh, doing something's not going to make a difference, and I don't need to really worry about this. I don't have all the information. It's probably, going to be okay. So that, again, 80% of the time that probably works for you and others in a fantastic way. But there's always going to be that 10-20% of the time where, no, this is one of those moments where I need to recognize something needs to be done about this, and something needs to be done by me about this. Like, somebody needs to stand up and say something, and this is one of those moments where it needs to be me. Like, I need to engage. And really, isn't engaging like the opposite of narcotizing? Like, think narcotizing is like, I'm not going to focus on this. I'm not going to engage with that. I'm going to disengage and engage in this other thing, like television or sleeping or, hobbies or interests or any kind of comfort, eating, whatever it is. Disengaging from reality. I mean, this is what we've been talking about this whole session, really. Disengaging from reality. There can be a tendency to retreat, not a bad idea for most of us to do that, but a tendency to retreat into their own minds and into comforting but unrealistic perceptions of the world to avoid facing painful realities. Ooh, yeah. Like, if you were to just ask yourself right now, am I happy in my life? Am I truly content and truly happy? Am I living to my full potential? Are my relationships really healthy? Am I really glad that I'm in the family that I am? Am I fully engaging with my wife, my kids, my family, my church, my job? Am I fully showing up to this, or am I just kind of day by day, surface level, going through the motions and then sort of disengaging and engaging in my own inner world in order to kind of escape this troublesome, problematic environment I'm in? Yeah, you might be surprised at the answer you hear, and it's troubling because you're going to feel this sense of like, yeah, but what do I do? Like, what do I do about this? And you may need support. All right, you just may need some support. You may need somebody like myself or somebody else to kind of like walk you through, crap, I'm awake now and I don't like what I see. What do I do to make my life better? And I would just say, get help somewhere. If it's not for me, find somebody, a trusted friend, a pastor, a life coach, a counselor, somebody, that cares about you, and their only agenda is for you to discover more about you, to discover more about what you need and what you want in your life. Indecision, number 5, the fifth way narcotization shows up for 9. So let's go over them real quick. Avoiding conflict, seeking discomfort, minimizing problems, disengaging from reality, and then indecision. Does this sound like you? The Enneagram is painful. It's not pleasant. You don't read it and go, oh, wow, I feel great about myself. You read it and you go, oh, crap, I've got some room to grow. We all do. But indecision, I get it. I can be so indecisive sometimes. My 7 dreamy mind of every idea of what we could do sometimes creates like this problem of making a real plan, a real decision. But 9s often struggle with making decisions, especially if you think it's going to risk creating conflict or discomfort for others or for yourself. Leading to maybe procrastinating, being stuck. Or sometimes, 9s will just kind of come down the stairs with this brand new revelation that, hey, I'm leaving and joining the circus. You're like, what? What brought this up? And you may have been thinking about this for a long time, but didn't feel safe to disturb the family by bringing it up and talking about it, because you might get overwhelmed by all their questions and their interrogations. And so you just kind of formulate this plan in private and then just sort of announce it. To everybody's astonishment, you're getting married. Or to everybody's astonishment, you're going to join the circus in California. And that can certainly happen with 9s. Challenges and growth for 9s. So what can we do to start to push against this defense mechanism of narcotization, which doesn't always work for you, to bring you about the life that you really want. Recognizing and confronting this tendency to numb yourself out or to escape, and begin embracing the full spectrum of your experiences, including those that might bring conflict or discomfort or problems into your life. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps that we can take. Number 1, facing conflict. Conflict is going to happen. You got to have boundaries. There's times when it's worth it. Now, a lot of times it's not. I agree with you. Again, 80% of the time, it's probably the right thing to do, and maybe you should even share that voice with the rest of us. Like, don't take it personally. Take yourself out of it. Try to be understanding. Nothing needs to be said right now. Nothing needs to be done right now. But realize that's your compulsion and impulse. So if a problem is lingering in your life, it's probably one that's going to require you to face it. And that may be what you've been avoiding doing because it could get worse. It could get very uncomfortable for you and for others. And I know you don't like it to be awkward, but it's awkward living in this anxiety of suppressed conflict. I always say this, that if you're not willing to deal with conflict, you're always going to have it. It's always going to be there, like clouding over everything in your life. Facing conflict, learning that conflict can be constructive and is often necessary. Like, conflict in itself isn't bad. And actually, when you're a healthy 9, you're the person to lead us through conflict. You really are. I mean, like, just able to like bring harmony and unity, but you're going to have to be a little more stern and shut down the people that are maybe the loudest or the rudest or the most dominant. And this is a real growth point for all of us, but certainly for you as a 9, learning to face conflict. You know, I remember reading a quote, I wrote it down here: peace is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to cope with it. And, you know, you may realize that I really kind of run away from conflict, but I need to change that. Like, I need to be more okay with confronting others. And maybe even let me issue a challenge to you. If there's somebody in your life that maybe you have allowed a fear of conflict or a conflict to separate you from that person, to maybe consider giving a phone call or an appointment with that person and you know, trying to mend that fence or trying to talk it out or talk it through. And that can feel very, you know, I get it. Engaging fully, committing to fully engage with your life. Or think of it like this: you only get to live once on this earth, and are you fully living your life? Are you fully showing up to your life? Are you owning your life? Are you owning your space, owning your words? You know, are you fully engaging in your life? You know, 9s have a tendency to kind of merge with the people and the groups around them. And I remember what Oscar Wilde said: be yourself because everyone else is taken. And, you know, this is one of the things I think 9s are really good at helping the rest of us realize, is to be yourself. Just, it's okay to be you. It's okay to be yourself. But I think it's one of those lessons that you might miss for yourself. Like, are you really being yourself? Do you know yourself? And who is that person? Acknowledging discomfort and being active in your own choices, and rather than just passively allowing life to happen to you or things to happen to you. You know, playing it small is not really serving the world around you, or playing life small is not really all you're capable of. You're capable of so much more. And I realize you may be very content with life as it is, but should you be? Maybe you should be a little more discontent. Well, Tom, then I'll start to feel anger and upset. Good. You remember, you're an anger type. It's okay for you to get angry, and maybe you need to get a little bit angry at how disengaged you've been and how you've not gone after things that maybe you could have, and that your life could be a lot better right now. I think you have this line to 3, and that is exactly the way 3s think. You know, how do I get to the next level? How do I improve? How do I overcome and challenge myself and reach this next level? A little bit of that is going to require you to get a little frustrated with your natural compulsions and impulses, and to push yourself. And anger can sometimes be a fuel to get that going. So don't be afraid of the anger. Acknowledging discomfort, accepting that discomfort is a part of life. and it's a part of life that I maybe need to deal a little more directly with. And, dealing with conflict could lead to greater levels of resolution, which could lead to greater levels of real peace and harmony in your life. It's one thing to keep the peace, it's another to make peace. And I want you to not be a peacekeeper. Remember, the 9 is not called a peacekeeper. That is playing small. That is being very cautious. That is, feeling responsible for everybody else's emotions. That is you being very careful not to upset the apple cart. It's going to exhaust you, and you're going to become very discouraged in life as a peacekeeper. Resist the tendency to be a peacekeeper and instead see yourself as a peacemaker. I go into conflict. I'm not afraid of it. I bring the comfort and the harmony and the unity with me, and I will work with the people and problems to resolve them and create a sense of comfort and peace and unity in this place. That is a powerful purpose to live. Like a band director taking all these different instruments and then unifying them and creating harmony. What a great idea, ideal for you to live up to. Expressing your own needs and desires. You're a human. Let's just start there. Class 101. I am a human. You are a human, and it's okay for you to take up space, and it's okay for you to have your own decisions. It's okay for you to move toward what you want in life or what you think is best for your life. It's okay for you to separate away from everyone else's agenda. Remember, you are a withdrawn type, and you may need to withdraw to really think about and figure out what you want. Think of it as like, I'm a 9. It's really hard for me to know what I want when everybody else is talking to me. So you got to shut the cameras off. You got to shut the videos down. You got to move away from people. Go sit out there as close to nature as possible. That is kind of your realm, the 100-acre wood. If you haven't watched that video yet, go back in my list and look for 9s in the 100-acre wood. Get as close as you can to nature and just let yourself rest for a minute, and then allow the quiet to bring things up to the surface and ask yourself some of these tough questions. Who am I? What do I care about? What do I believe in? What do I want to see in my life? Is there anything that would make my life better? How could I work to improve my family life, my relationships, my spiritual life, my physical health, my mental health? What hobbies and interests have I been putting off that I would enjoy? And just start asking yourself, not what do I want in life, because that may be too much yet. Just ask, what would make my life better? And then start writing those things down and then start moving towards some of them. And what will happen is as you're moving toward these, you'll start to realize, wow, I really am glad I'm doing this. I don't know why it took me so long to get started. Because maybe you're a little narcotized right now. A little asleep to life. And having needs and desires is a good thing. It's a human thing. Recognizing and articulating those needs and desires, understanding that doing so is essential for you to get to a fulfilled, real state of resolution and peace and harmony in your life. And then the last thing is active decision making. Is you're going to have to start deciding things for yourself. And if you struggle with decision making, just assume that everything is no first. Because I know for you it tends to not be. Probably everything is yes, it's fine, it's okay. But try to impose a no into every decision until you hear from within you a clear yes. Like when somebody says, hey, could you help me with this? Try to lead with no first. Hey, do you want to go out for burgers? No. Try to hear that first, like maybe an 8 would, type 8 right next to you. Try to hear no first, and then see if there's a real yes under that no. So active decision making, taking a more active role in decision making, understanding that your choices matter and they have an impact on your life and the life of the people around you. So rather than just whatever my wife wants, whatever my wife thinks is best, if she says homeschool, then we're going to homeschool. If she says private school, then we're going to private school. If she says public school, we're going to if she says the kids need time out, if she says, rather than just defaulting to the other big, powerful, important people in your life, try to engage more and show up more as an actual player in this game and not just a non-player character in the game. I know it's so painful. I know. I'm only doing this because I care about you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I've got some wonderful 9s in my life that sometimes calm me down and help me, be more present to life. And let's just end this with this note here in my notes. By addressing your tendency to narcotize, 9s can find a deeper, more authentic peace, a genuine peace, resolution peace that comes than the one that comes from avoiding conflict and discomfort, but pushing yourself to actually resolve these things and engage fully in life. And this path leads to a more engaged, vibrant, and ultimately fulfilling life, and you become equipped and able now to bring this peace and comfort you so desperately desire into the world around you, and to be an agent for making peace. Because peace is not just the absence of conflict or disturbance in your life, but the presence of genuine harmony within and genuine harmony with others. Real peace has resolution, not just the absence of problems and conflict, but living with that resolution in harmony with yourself and with others, and living that purpose out in life. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. I hope it's engaging, encouraging, helpful. And, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to work one-on-one, that's what I do. I love it. I have a lot of 9s I've worked with. Believe me, a lot of 9s I've worked with. I think I understand the operating system and how to help, engage that into a more productive, more fulfilling, more present way of living. Thank you guys, and as always, be present to life. I'll see you next time.